All right, let's uncork this topic, shall we? Today, we're going deep into a world that's full of mystery and intrigue, the world of geographical indications.
Ooh, mystery and intrigue. I like that.
You know those special labels on wine bottles? They tell you a lot more than just the type of grape, right?
Yeah, you're right. It's like a secret code almost.
Why?
It's a way to unlock a wine's backstory, its history, everything.
Exactly. And with me today, I've got just the person to help us break this code, an expert in all things wine GIs. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to dive in.
So for those of us who might be new to this, can you give us a quick breakdown of what geographical indications are, how they work?
Sure thing. So basically, GIs, as we call them, are like a passport for a wine. They tell you where it's from, the region, sometimes even the specific vineyard.
Oh, I see. So like a passport filled with stamps of all the places the wine has been?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's more than just a travel log. They also set standards for how the wine is made. It's all about protecting the reputation of a particular region and its wines.
Oh, that makes total sense. So we're not just talking about where the grapes are grown, but also the traditions, the methods, the whole process.
You got it. It's like a guarantee that what's in the bottle is the real deal.
So are there different types of GIs, or is it just one size fits all? Like, is there a gold standard GI, something that's considered top tier?
Absolutely, there are different levels. And you're right. There is a gold standard, so to speak. We call it the denomination of origin, or DO.
Denomination of origin, DO. Okay, got it. So what makes a DO so special?
Think of it as the most exclusive club in the world of wine. Only the best of the best get in. To earn a DO, a wine has to be made in a very specific place using traditional methods, and the grapes have to come from that region too.
So it's like saying, this wine is 100% authentic, made with generations of knowledge and expertise.
Exactly. It's all about terroir, which is a fancy French word for sense of place.
Oh, terroir. I've heard that word before, but I'm not sure I totally understand it. Can you break that down for me?
It's basically the idea that a wine's character comes directly from the place where it's made, the climate, the soil, even the human touch.
Okay, I'm starting to get it. So it's like saying the land, the people, the history, it's all bottled up in that wine.
Exactly. And one of the most iconic examples of a DO is champagne. You can't just call any sparkling wine champagne. It has to come from the Champagne region of France and follow very, very strict rules about every step of the process.
Champagne, the ultimate celebratory bubbly. So it means that if a wine isn't from that specific region in France, it can't be made in the same way.
Well, they can use similar techniques, but they can't call it champagne, right? It's all about protecting the integrity of that region and the reputation of the winemakers there.
Makes sense. It's like a super exclusive club, champagne.
Yeah.
So what about wines that are known for a particular style, but not necessarily a specific method? Do they have their own type of GI as well?
Yeah, good question. For that, we have the indication of provenance, or IP.
Indication provenance, IP. All right, got it. So how is that different from a DO?
Well, an IP is a bit more relaxed. It focuses on the region's reputation for a certain type of wine rather than a super strict set of rules.
Oh, I see. So it's like saying this wine is known for being light and refreshing, or this wine is typically bold and fruity.
Exactly. A good example of an IP is Vinho Verde from Portugal. Those really light, refreshing white wines with a slight fizz to them.
Ooh, yeah, I love Vinho Verde, especially on a hot summer day.
Right. Well, the IP protects that style and the region's connection to it. It's a guarantee that when you pick up a bottle of Vinho Verde, you're getting that signature style.
Okay, starting to get the picture. But here's a question that's probably on everyone's mind. Why should the average wine drinker care about GIs?
That's a great question.
Mhm.
Sometimes it can feel like just a bunch of fancy labels, right?
Exactly. Like, does it really matter if my wine has a DO or an IP?
Oh, it definitely matters. Trust me. GIs benefit everyone involved, from the producers to the consumers and even the regions themselves.
Really? How so?
Well, for producers, it's about protecting their hard work. They're investing a lot of time, effort, and passion into making high-quality wines. So the GI system helps ensure that they get fair value for those wines.
So it's like a safeguard against knockoffs, wines trying to pass themselves off as something they're not?
Exactly. GIs are like a stamp of authenticity. And for consumers, it gives them confidence that they're getting what they paid for, a wine that truly reflects the region and the quality they expect.
Okay, so it's a win-win for both producers and consumers.
Exactly. And on top of that, it's a way to connect with the story behind the wine, the people who made it, the place where it comes from. It adds a whole other dimension to your wine experience.
Okay, I'm sold on the why. Now let's talk about some of the key players in the GI world, shall we? You mentioned Europe being the birthplace of this system.
Right? Europe is where it all began, and no exploration of European wine GIs would be complete without talking about France. They're like the pioneers of wine classifications.
France, the land of wine and romance. So, what makes the French system so special?
Well, they have this incredibly strict system called Appellation d'Origine Contrôlée, or AOC for short.
Appellation d'origine contrôlée, AOC. Got it. What does that mean exactly?
It's all about terroir. Remember that word?
Oh, yeah, terroir, sense of place.
Exactly. The AOC system is all about ensuring that the wine truly reflects the unique character of its region.
So, which regions in France are known for having that special terroir magic?
Oh, there are so many. Bordeaux, for example, is famous for its big, bold red wines.
Ah, Bordeaux. I always picture those grand chateaux and elegant wines.
Exactly. It's all about Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot grapes grown in the gravelly soils along the river.
I see. So the soil plays a huge role in the wine's character.
Absolutely. And then you have Burgundy, which is known for its Pinot Noir and Chardonnay wines. They're all about expressing the subtle nuances of each vineyard site.
Oh, I've heard that Burgundy is like the holy grail for Pinot Noir lovers.
It is. The Burgundians are obsessed with terroir. They believe that every little plot of land can produce a wine with its own unique personality.
That's incredible. It's like each bottle is a little snapshot of that specific piece of earth.
Exactly. And of course, we can't forget Champagne, with its chalky soils and cool climate. Those are perfect conditions for growing the grapes that go into those amazing sparkling wines.
Okay, let's not forget the Loire Valley, right? With all those different wines, from Sauvignon Blanc to Cabernet Franc, and the Rhone Valley with its amazing Syrah and Grenache blends.
You're right, France has such an incredible diversity of wines, and it's all thanks to their dedication to terroir and the AOC system.
Okay, I'm starting to get a sense of how important terroir is to the French winemaking philosophy. But let's not get too carried away with France. We have a whole world of GIs to explore.
You're right, let's keep traveling. Where to next?
Let's hop over to Italy. I'm curious to see how their system compares to France.
Okay, Italy it is. Get ready for some delicious discoveries because they have their own unique take on geographical indications.
I'm ready. Bring on the pasta and the vino.
All right, so you know how France has its AOC system? Well, Italy has something similar called Denominazione di Origine Controllata, or DOC.
Denominazione di origine controllata, DOC. Wow, that's a mouthful.
It is, but it basically means the same thing, controlled designation of origin.
Okay, so Italy also has a system to protect the authenticity and origin of its wines.
Exactly. But here's where it gets interesting. They also have an even stricter level called Denominazione di Origine Controllata e Garantita, or DOCG.
DOCG? Oh, wow. So it's like a DOC, but even more exclusive.
You got it. The G stands for Garantita, which means guaranteed. So a DOCG wine has to meet even higher standards of quality and authenticity.
I see. So it's like the VIP section of Italian wines.
Exactly. We're talking about wines like Chianti Classico, Barolo, Barbaresco, Brunello di Montalcino, Amarone della Valpolicella, the big names.
Wow, those are some serious Italian heavy hitters. So when I see that DOCG label, I know I'm in for a treat.
You are. And don't forget about Prosecco, the bubbly darling of Italy.
Yeah.
It also has its own protected designation of origin.
Oh, that's right. I didn't realize Prosecco had a GI as well.
It does. It can only be made in specific areas of northeastern Italy using the Glera grape.
So when I'm sipping on a glass of Prosecco, I can be sure that it's the real deal, made in a region that's dedicated to preserving its sparkling wine heritage.
Precisely. It's all about guaranteeing that what's in your glass reflects the place and the passion that went into making it.
Okay, Italy is definitely moving up on my wine travel list. But before we book our flights, I think we need to talk about Spain.
Spain. They also have a fantastic system of GIs. Similar to Italy, they have their own denominación de origin, or DO, and then a super exclusive category called denominación de origin calificada, or DOCA.
DOCA, I see. So it's like Italy's DOCG, the best of the best.
Exactly. DOCA is reserved for regions with a long history of quality and international recognition.
So which Spanish regions have earned that coveted DOCA status?
Well, first and foremost, you have Rioja, the iconic region known for its Tempranillo-based red wines. They age beautifully, developing complex aromas of leather and spice.
Ah, Rioja, a classic for a reason. But Spain has more to offer than just Rioja, right?
Of course. You have Ribera del Duero, another fantastic region for Tempranillo. Their wines are known for being powerful and structured, often compared to the best of Bordeaux.
Okay, I'm sensing a theme here. Spain loves its Tempranillo.
They do. And then you have Priorat, a smaller region that's gained a lot of attention in recent years. Their wines are intense and mineral-driven, often made with Garnacha and Carignana grapes.
Priorat, I've heard the name but never tried their wines. It sounds like an adventure in a glass.
It is. And we can't forget about Rías Baixas in Galicia, known for its crisp Albarino wines.
Ah, Albarino, one of my favorite white grapes.
They thrive in the cool, Atlantic-influenced climate of Rías Baixas. The wines are zesty, aromatic, with a hint of salinity from the sea.
Wow, Spain is truly a diverse wine country. I'm already planning my tapas and wine tour.
You and me both. And we've only just scratched the surface of European wine GIs. We still have Portugal, Hungary, and so many more countries to explore.
I can already tell this is going to be a long and delicious journey, but I think we need to take a break here. Grab a glass of something delicious, and we'll continue our global GI adventure in the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds like a plan. I'll be right here, ready to uncork some more knowledge.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in Europe,
We have.
but our wine passports are ready for more stamps.
Yeah. There's a whole world out there waiting for it.
Exactly. So let's set sail for the New World.
Sounds good to me.
How do those wines stack up against the strict traditions we've seen in Europe?
That's a great question. They've definitely got their own approach, a bit more laid back maybe, but still focused on quality.
More laid back.
Yeah. Europe has centuries of tradition behind it, but the New World is all about innovation, trying new things, pushing boundaries.
I like that. It's like a breath of fresh air, right?
Exactly. And it's reflected in their GI systems, too. They're not quite as strict as in Europe, but they still serve the same purpose.
Okay, so let's start with the U.S., shall we?
Okay.
What's their take on geographical indications?
Well, instead of DOs, they have what they call American Viticultural Areas, or AVAs for short.
AVS. Okay, got it. So what's the difference?
It's more about geography than specific production methods, you see. An AVA defines a region based on its unique geographical features, the climate, the soil, that kind of thing.
So it's more about celebrating the land itself, the place where the grapes are grown.
Exactly. It's like saying, hey, this wine is special because it comes from this incredible place with its unique terroir.
I like that. It's very American, isn't it? Big, bold, and proud of its land.
It is.
So give us some examples. What are some of the most famous AVAs in the U.S.?
Well, you can't talk about American wine without mentioning Napa Valley, right?
Napa. Cabernet Sauvignon heaven.
Exactly. But what's interesting is that even within Napa Valley, you have all these subregions, each with its own distinct terroir.
So it's not just one type of Cabernet Sauvignon coming out of Napa.
Nope. You have Oakville, Rutherford, Stag's Leap, all producing slightly different styles of Cabernet Sauvignon.
So even within a famous region like Napa, there's all this diversity and nuance.
Exactly. That's the beauty of AVAs. They help you understand the complexities of a region.
Now, I know California gets a lot of attention, but what about other parts of the U.S.? Are there any up-and-coming AVAs we should be watching?
Oh, absolutely. Oregon's Willamette Valley is making waves with its Pinot Noir.
I've heard great things about Oregon Pinot, more elegant and restrained than California Pinot.
You're right. The cooler climate and volcanic soils of the Willamette Valley create a completely different style.
And what about Washington State? I know they're producing some great wines, too.
Oh yeah, Washington is definitely one to watch. The Columbia Valley is their biggest AVA, and it has some amazing subregions like Red Mountain, known for its powerful reds, and the Horse Heaven Hills, where they're making some incredible Bordeaux-style blends.
Wow, the diversity of American wine is pretty impressive. It's like a whole world to explore within one country.
It is. And the AVAs help you navigate that world, They tell you the story of the land, the climate, and the people behind the wine.
Okay, I'm adding a U.S. wine tour to my bucket list for sure. But let's keep moving. Where to next on our New World adventure?
How about Australia?
Australia, the land of sunshine, surfing, and Shiraz. I'm in.
All right. Australia takes its wine labeling very seriously, and they have a system called Geographical Indications, or GIs, to protect the reputation of their regions.
So when I see a bottle that says Barossa Valley Shiraz, I know it's the real deal, made with grapes from that specific region.
Absolutely. And each region has its own unique character. The Barossa Valley, for example, is known for those big, bold Shiraz wines with their peppery spice and smooth tannins.
Oh, I love a good Barossa Shiraz. But Australia is more than just Shiraz, right?
Oh, so much more. They have a huge variety of climates and grape varieties.
Okay.
Take the Hunter Valley, for example. They're famous for their Semillon.
Semillon. Now, that's not a grape you hear about every day.
I know, right? But Hunter Valley Semillon is something special. It's aged in oak barrels and develops these incredible nutty, honeyed flavors over time.
Wow, sounds intriguing. Like a wine that tells a story as it ages.
It is. And then you have Margaret River in Western Australia, a cool climate region known for its elegant Cabernet Sauvignon and Chardonnay.
Oh, I've heard great things about Margaret River. People say their wines rival the best of Bordeaux and Burgundy.
They do. And let's not forget McLaren Vale, another amazing region for Shiraz, and Grenache blends too.
Okay, Australia is sounding more and more appealing with every region you mention.
It's a wine lover's paradise.
All right, next stop, South America. I've heard so much about Chilean wines lately. They're really making a name for themselves on the world stage.
They are. Chile is a really fascinating wine country with unique geography and a long history of winemaking.
What makes Chile so special for growing grapes?
Well, they've got these natural barriers that protect their vineyards from pests and diseases. The Andes Mountains to the east, the Atacama Desert to the north, the Pacific Ocean to the west, and glaciers to the south.
Wow, it's like a great growing paradise,
Mm,
isolated and protected from the outside world.
exactly. And they have a system called Denomination de Origin, or DO, similar to what we saw in Europe.
So they're also using DOs to protect the authenticity and origin of their wines.
Yep. And one of their most famous regions is the Maipo Valley.
Maipo Valley, okay. What kind of wines do they make there?
Maipo is known for its Cabernet Sauvignon, really high quality and excellent value for money.
Oh, I've heard that. Chilean Cabernet is a great option for those who want quality without breaking the bank.
It is, but Maipo is also home to Carmenere, a grape that was almost extinct but was rediscovered in Chile.
Carbonara, that's a new one for me.
It's a really interesting grape with deep, inky color and aromas of black fruit and spice.
Okay, I'm adding Chilean Carbonara to my list of wines to try. But what about other regions in Chile? Surely Maipo isn't the only one worth exploring.
Oh no, there are plenty of others. The Colchagua Valley is another great one. They make excellent reds and whites there.
And what about Casablanca Valley? I know that's a coastal region, so I imagine the wines are quite different from Maipo.
You're right. Casablanca is known for its cool climate wines, like Sauvignon Blanc and Chardonnay. The ocean influence gives them a fresh, vibrant acidity.
Wow, Chile is really a treasure trove of wine diversity. From bold Cabernet to crisp Sauvignon Blanc, they seem to have it all.
They do, and they're only getting better.
Okay, last stop on our South American adventure, Argentina, the land of Malbec.
You got it. Argentina is all about Malbec, especially from the high-altitude vineyards of Mendoza.
Ah, Mendoza Malbec. Those wines have a reputation for being intense and juicy.
They are, and they use a system called Indication Geographica, or IG, to define their wine regions.
IG. Okay, another new acronym. So, what makes Mendoza Malbec so special? Is it the altitude?
And altitude plays a huge role. The vineyards in Mendoza are planted way up in the foothills of the Andes Mountains, some of them over 3,000 feet high.
Wow, that's high. So, how does that affect the wine?
The high altitude means intense sunlight during the day, but cool nights, which helps the grapes develop complex flavors while retaining their acidity.
Oh, I see. So, it's like a perfect balance between ripeness and freshness.
Exactly. But Argentina isn't all about Malbec. The Salta region is known for its Torrontés, a really unique and aromatic white grape.
Torrontés, I've never tried that one. What's it like?
It's super aromatic with floral notes, citrus, and a touch of spice. Really refreshing and perfect for warm weather.
Okay, I'm definitely adding Torrontés to my list. But as much as I'd love to keep traveling the world of wine, I think it's time we shift gears a bit.
What do you have in mind?
We've talked a lot about the benefits of GIs, but I think it's important to address the challenges as well, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. There are definitely some hurdles that GIs face in today's world.
Like what, for example?
Well, fraud is a big one. When people try to pass off fake wines as the real deal, it undermines the whole system.
That makes sense. So how do they combat that?
Well, technology is playing a big role. Things like traceability systems and advanced labeling techniques are making it harder for counterfeiters to get away with it.
So it's like a high-tech game of cat and mouse. But I imagine fraud isn't the only challenge, right?
Nope. There's also the issue of unfair competition. Some producers try to take advantage of a region's reputation without actually following the GI rules.
Ah, so it's like trying to cheat the system, get the benefits without putting in the work.
Exactly. And then there's climate change, the big one looming over everything.
Oh, right. Climate change. How is that affecting GIs?
Well, it's causing all sorts of problems for winemakers, from changing weather patterns to increased risks of pests and diseases.
So how are they adapting?
Some regions are experimenting with different grape varieties that are more resistant to heat or drought. Others are focusing on sustainable vineyard management practices to mitigate the effects of climate change.
So it's like they're having to get creative and find new ways to protect their wines and their
They
traditions.
are. It's a real challenge, but it's also an opportunity for innovation.
I like that, finding the silver lining in the cloud. But let's not get too bogged down in the challenges.
Yeah.
What about the opportunities? Are there any positive trends emerging from all of this?
Oh, absolutely. One of the most exciting things is the rise of enotourism.
Enotourism. What's that?
It's basically wine tourism, people traveling to different wine regions to experience the wines and the culture firsthand.
Oh, I see. Like going beyond just drinking the wine, but actually visiting the place where it's made, meeting the people, learning about the history.
Exactly. And GIs play a big role in promoting enotourism. They give people a reason to travel to a specific region, to discover its unique wines and terroirs.
So it's like a wine lover's adventure?
It is. Many regions are developing wine routes and trails, organizing festivals and events, offering all sorts of experiences for wine tourists.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But it's more than just tourism, right?
You're right. GIs are also driving innovation in winemaking and marketing. Producers are experimenting with new techniques, new grape varieties, and finding creative ways to connect with consumers.
So it's like a constant evolution, balancing tradition with a forward-thinking approach.
Exactly. And it's all about making sure that the world of wine remains diverse, exciting, and full of surprises.
I like that. Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. From the old world to the new world, we've explored the fascinating world of geographical indications.
We have.
But as with any good wine tasting, I think it's time for a little palate cleanser, wouldn't you say?
I agree. Let's take a quick break, refresh our glasses, and we'll be back to wrap up our deep dive into the world of GIs.
Okay, welcome back. I feel like we've traveled the world already, swirling and sniffing our way through so many incredible wines and regions.
We have. It's been quite a journey, hasn't it?
It has. And I have to say, I'm really starting to appreciate the power of geographical indications.
I know what you mean.
It's more than just a label. It's a story, a connection to a place and its people.
Exactly. And it's a story that's constantly evolving, too.
That's right. So as we wrap up our deep dive into this fascinating world, let's talk about the future of GIs. Where do you see things heading?
Well, I think one of the biggest trends we're going to see is a focus on sustainability.
Sustainability, that makes sense. Consumers are more and more aware of the environmental impact of what they're buying, and wine is no exception.
Right. And GIs are in a unique position to promote sustainable practices
How so?
because they're all about protecting a specific region, right? So it's in everyone's best interest to make sure that region remains healthy and productive for generations to come.
I see. So it's like a built-in incentive to be environmentally responsible.
Exactly. And we're already seeing GIs incorporating sustainability standards into their regulations. It's about more than just organic or biodynamic farming. It's about preserving biodiversity, conserving water, reducing carbon emissions, the whole package.
So the future of GIs is about more than just guaranteeing the origin and quality of a wine. It's also about ensuring its sustainability.
Exactly. It's about protecting the land, the people, and the traditions that make these wines so special.
I love that. It's like a holistic approach to winemaking, recognizing that everything is interconnected.
It is. And I think technology is going to play a huge role in all of this.
Oh, technology. How so?
Well, we already talked about how it's being used to combat fraud and enhance traceability. But imagine a future where you could scan a wine label with your phone and instantly access all sorts of information about that wine.
Okay, I'm picturing it. I scan the label and I can see a video of the winemaker talking about the vineyard, the soil, the climate, maybe even a 360-degree view of the vineyard.
Exactly. And you can see information about the sustainability practices they're using, their certifications, their commitment to the environment.
That's amazing. It's like bringing the vineyard to life right there on your phone.
It is. And I think it could really enhance the whole wine experience, make it more interactive, educational, and engaging.
Absolutely. It's like having a personal sommelier in your pocket.
Exactly.
Well, as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of geographical indications, I have to say, I'm walking away with a whole new appreciation for those little labels on wine bottles.
Me too.
They're like a window into a world of history, culture, and passion.
They are. And it's a world that's definitely worth exploring.
So what's one piece of advice you would give our listeners as they continue their own wine adventures?
Don't be afraid to try something new. Seek out wines with GIs from different regions around the world, talk to your local wine shop owner, do some research online, and be curious. There's a whole world of incredible wines out there just waiting to be discovered.
That's great advice. And remember, every time you open a bottle of wine with the GI, you're not just tasting a beverage, you're experiencing a place, a story, a tradition.
Cheers to that.
Cheers! And that concludes our deep dive into geographical indications. Until next time, keep swirling, sniffing, and sipping your way to new discoveries.